So you fancy becoming a courier, you fancy being self-employed, and you think you might join the Courier Exchange. So I tell you what, I'll take you through a few of the things, the basics that you're going to need, okay? So one of the first things you're going to need, one of the most obvious things you're going to need, is of course, yes, a van. You need a van to do the job. Now, there is no right or wrong van. That was a picture of my van. My van is a long wheelbase van. But you can get any van. You can get short wheelbase, small van, midi, combi vans, extra long wheelbase vans, Luton vans. You get the van that suits you, is best for what you want to do. I will say that in my experience now on the Courier Exchange, by far the biggest van demand I see is for the small van. There's loads of work out there for small vans on the Courier Exchange. Quite a bit for the long wheelbase vans, and then a mixture obviously between the two. But what you decide is up to you. But what I'll do, I'll take you for a little tour of my van to show you the kind of things that I carry. So here we are at the Silver Dream Machine. Long wheelbase Citroen Relay L3H2. And here inside, I'll show you the kind of items that I typically carry. I have a night light, handy for when you're getting loaded and it's dark and the forklift drivers don't have a light on the truck. It's magnetic, detaches, you can have it on the outside or the inside, move it about, really handy. And if you're into your tramping, it's handy for that too. Switches off down here. I have a hard hat because on some places you'll be delivering to building sites, etc. You're expected to wear a hard hat. Shovel, I have to carry a shovel because of my ADR license, but they're handy anyway, you know, especially if it's snowing, it's to shift a bit of snow away from your wheels. You'll need a sack truck, definitely, and you're carting loads of boxes in and out of places. Now, you definitely need straps, and I have different types of straps. Lots of them, different widths, ratchet straps. I'll use bungee cords, which I've got various places of the van. Heavy duty strap there. Gloves, I always carry gloves because when you're handling some things it could be dirty, etc. Spare straps I keep along the top here. I also have a fire extinguisher. It's not mandatory if you're not carrying hazardous goods, but I do carry hazardous goods license for it, so I have to have a fire extinguisher in the front and the back. Those are my ADR signages that are magnetic and stick on the van. That's my ADR kit. It has all my equipment in there. Now, on the shelf at the top, in there, are furniture blankets. Let's see if I can make some room here so I can show you what else I carry. No, I can't. I have a sleeping bag in case I'm tramping out. I have spare high vis. I have a pump to blow my airbed up, which is behind the sleeping bag. I have a wheel chock, and behind that, if you can see at the back there, I have what's called a spill kit in case of any spillages of chemicals, etc. And here is a warning triangle, and I've also got behind there an electric tyre pump. If you get a slow puncher, you just need to be able to get to a garage, it's always handy. You see I've got an inverter in case I want to use any 240 volt items, maybe a laptop, something like that. Carry a bit of rope. So you can see that the van is pretty well kitted out, and these are the kind of things you are going to need. Some people carry more things than this. I find that most of the time this does me. Hung up there, I've got a high vis full-size jacket in case the weather's a bit cold and you're waiting in a coal yard. It is quilted inside. And again, just a hoodie if it's a bit nippy and you need to get out of your van. Carry things like that. So I'll take you inside the cab of the van now, so you can see what kind of things it carry on that. By the way, that on the front is an ADR badge that's not magnetic. It simply folds back and opens, showing and carrying hazardous goods. So this is the inside of the van. Let's open it up. So you're going to need a sat nav. That one, I don't generally use it, but I've put it as a demonstration only. And that's the one that came with the van, because it's not live feeds, that one. You're going to need a phone cradle, and I've got a spare phone cradle there because I do have another phone, because I'm on another, I use another service called the Radical Courier, and they only work on what's it called, Android. So I bought a cheap little Android device that I can just put up there. Well, I generally put my own phone there. Pens, you need lots of pens. You're always going to lose pens. Get yourself a nice cup if you like a brew in the morning. These stay warm cups are great. I've got some wet wipes there, some tape, some safety goggles, and I also have a little Stanley knife for cutting open packaging. On this little table here, I generally keep my delivery notes and diary and things like that. And you'll see behind me there, I have another fire extinguisher. And at the front there is my day-to-day high-vis that I generally wear. Up here, little tablet. And up here on this other shelf, lots more pens. You always need pens. Little hat in case it's a bit cold for my ball head. And that there, I've not even opened it, is actually a little Bluetooth earpiece in case the Bluetooth on the van fails. So that's the kind of stuff I carry in the van. We'll talk about now the kind of stuff that you need as well. Right, I hope you found that useful. There was a couple of things I forgot to tell you. In the door pockets of the doors, I have a brush to keep the van floor tidy. I also have a little toolbox full of all the different little fittings like Phillips and Posi Drive and Torx, things like that. I also have some spare bulbs. They're all in the door pockets. And then another door pocket, there's some engine oil, things like that. So the van is pretty kitted out. So away from the van, you've got your van. You obviously need to insure your van. You need to insure it for hire and reward. I know and I've heard of people who don't insure it properly. If you don't do that, if you have an accident, you're simply not covered. You need to get hire and reward insurance. It is more expensive than normal commercial insurance, but that's the law, I'm afraid. I have hire and reward cover with hazardous goods cover as well. It isn't cheap. It costs me about $2,700 a year, roughly. Hopefully it'll go down next year if I don't claim. You need some kind of breakdown cover. I've included mine in my insurance package, but you obviously can buy it separately as well if you want. You're obviously going to pay to go on the CX. I think everybody's covered that before. About £1,600. Your first year you've got to pay up front. I think after the second year you can divide it quarterly. So once you're on, you're insured, you've got your van, you've decided on the type of van that you want to drive, you need then to start working, and you also need to make a note of everything you're doing. So for that purpose, I have a day book. In my day book, I record everything I do per day. You know, I'll take a typical day, for example, this one, Tuesday, the 14th of July. And in that, on that there, if you want to have a quick glance, you'll see I write the date, I write anything that's going in or out, like fuel payments or payments in from customers. The jobs that I've done, I give each one a number. So CX45, CX44. When the customer has paid me, I stamp it. I have a little stamp. That tells me that that's paid and up to date. It helps me cross-reference. I always write the name of the shipper, the amount of money that the job was, and how many days I'm expected to wait for it. So if they put the date, 30 days end of the month, I write that down there, just so I know, if it's going to be late or not at a glance. And I keep a record of that every day. And then you can cross-reference then with your CX. I use an iPad so I can go on the CX desktop version and again keep track of your accounts. Paperwork wise, you'll need, if the customer does not have delivery notes for you to get signed and upload to the CX, you need to have some of your own. Okay, and I have a basic, genuine copy of somebody else's, and basically all it is collection from, delivery to, a reference number, what the items are. I get it signed when I collect and I get it signed when it's delivered, and that kind of covers me, and I'll send that through as a proof of delivery. Most of the time you'll find that the customers will give you paperwork to get signed anyway. You're obviously going to need a smartphone, or else you can't operate on the CX. You're going to need to make sure you've got a contract with enough credit. And that is basically it. I could run through everything I've got in the thing for you here. You know what I carry? I have a bag, and in this little bag, I'll carry things like a stapler, envelopes. I've got stamps in there. I have an invoice book. I've not actually used that, but you can buy them, easy enough to get off eBay. They go in triplicate, so you can do your own invoices. I tend to use the ones off the CX because I'm mainly working on the CX, but I also have pre-printed invoices, very similar to those collection notes that are done, and I'll use them. Keep the documents for my car insurance, although I've got them downloaded on my phone anyway. And another separate little diary. So I have a little office in a bag, if you like, that I carry around with me. Other people will do it differently, but I find the Daybook is the most important thing because it has everything in daily and I can refer to it. I can see what I've been earning, I can see what I'm owed, I can see the work that I'm getting from which shippers give me a lot of work. I can also see the reference numbers for the job in that Daybook. It's a 5-minute job to fill it in before you go for a job, and everything's there. So I would advise you keep a record like that, but it's entirely up to you. Now, this kind of stuff obviously has been covered by other people on YouTube. I've aimed this for people who maybe haven't seen those videos, have only seen my videos. There is loads more things that need cover. In a short video, you don't really have the time to cover everything. But I hope what I've told you, which is merely the basics, is of use. Of course, if you have questions, send them through like people do, and I'll answer them. But remember, always a disclaimer, I answer them with my opinion. Yeah? So not everyone shares my opinion on things. So this week was a good week. Again, I had a good week on this CX, but this week I just decided to do this video because I thought this might help people more. Thank you for watching. If you have questions, message through. If you like it, please put a like on and please subscribe to it. I am still pitifully behind other people who have got similar channels, and I really would like to catch up to them. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon. You take care.